I call to order the Finance Committee of the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority on Tuesday the 9th at approximately 6:03 p.m. We have two items on our agenda. The first is the approval of the minutes of the November 21st, 2019 meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Please let the record show that the minutes were adopted unanimously. The second item on our agenda is the selection of qualified underwriters who can assist in NYFA debt issuance and related actions. I would assume that, Mr. Wise, that you will be presenting.
Right. Happy to. Well, the committee is being asked to approve a list of pre-qualified underwriters who can assist NYFA if NYFA chooses to issue additional debt. The list of pre-qualified underwriters is needed so that NYFA can be ready on short notice to issue bonds or notes to assist the county to overcome the financial consequences of the COVID pandemic. As you're aware, additional authorization to issue debt was granted to NYFA by an amendment to the NYFA Act that was signed into law on April 4th, 2020. So as a consequence of that new act, in April we issued a request for qualified underwriters and we received 33 responses. The responses were reviewed by a team and they were divided into three groups. Some of the underwriters who submitted proposals are not in any group, but those that we found qualified, we put into one of three groups. The first group are what's called the senior book running managers. Just very briefly, they're in charge of a financing, and they manage a group of co-managers. The senior manager usually puts up the funds for the syndicate of underwriters and they work closely with us and with the rating agencies to structure the financing. A co-manager, which is the second group, usually work with the senior manager and give the senior manager advice. They often provide capital. They do provide capital in case the financing fails. So they therefore have some skin in the game and have shared the risk. And then the third group are called the selling group. The selling group don't have any financial interest in the financing, but they are permitted to sell NYFA bonds. And often those selling group people sell to individuals and retail people. Now the most important thing to note here is that although you're delegating the right to the chair to pick a team of underwriters and certain other professionals, all of the terms of the financing, such as the amount of the financing and its purpose, will be done only after a vote of the entire board. So if you have any questions, please let me know. As is clear here, we want to be prepared in case the county asks us on short notice to work on issuing debt on their behalf.
I have a couple of small questions. The first is, just for the record, that adopting a list of qualified parties does not obligate NYFA or the county to add any debt, does it?
To add any, excuse me?
Any debt.
No. This is only in the event that the county asks us to issue additional debt or we decide to restructure any of our own debt, which we can do without a formal request from the county. But in either event, we might have to do it on short notice. The county, as you'll hear later in this meeting, does not completely know what they need or when they're going to need it.
And NYFA, of course, is particularly qualified to help because of our better bond rating, which would translate into lower rate on debt. But we want to be ready if called upon to help.
That's right, because these financings often take several months to put together. So we want to start to put together financings in case we're needed to follow through and complete the financings.
Are there further questions from the committee or from the board?
Yes, Jeremy, I have a question, or it's more of a comment and a question.
Paul Annunziato, yes?
Yes, Paul Annunziato. With the understanding of what you just outlined, at some point in the future, should one of these companies be selected or engaged, it will necessitate another vote. Today, we're just adopting an approved list. And so, with that understanding, my logic tells me there's no necessity for me to recuse myself since my company is one of the people on that list.
No, and we will not be picking everyone on the list for each financing. We will look at a financing, see what type of financing is needed, and we will pick an appropriate group of underwriters for that.
So I'm comfortable participating and accepting this list, but I'll go on the record that should a selection of any of the names on these lists come before us going forward, I would, of course, recuse myself.
This is
Right,
Thank you, Mr. Annunziato.
Chairman Leventhal, with your permission, I know you did invite other board members to ask
Yeah,
questions.
sure. Please, Mr. Wright.
Yeah, no, I think we need to clarify, Jeremy, your answer to Mr. Annunziato. I think he was suggesting that we would vote then on engaging any of those underwriters. As I read the resolution, and I'll be recusing myself from the full board meeting for different reasons, but the resolution itself, I think, maybe goes too far, and the board gives its authority to even hire those underwriters to the chair and the staff. And I think we should think about making sure that the board would have to vote on engaging an underwriter from that list. As I read the resolution, we would also delegate authority for somebody to actually hire them without coming back to the board.
Well, you're right, except that hiring them would be meaningless if you don't vote to continue with the financing. So if for argument's sake we hired Group A and then we came back to you with the amount in terms of the financing and you said that you did not want to proceed, in essence, that group would not get paid. But we need them to start working.
They work for free if we didn't vote to engage them after the fact?
Well, they don't get paid unless there's a successful transaction. So if there's no transaction, there are no fees paid, period.
But if there is a transaction, they're the only ones who get paid, meaning the board will not have acted, the board will not have made a selection.
They're not the only ones who get paid. The rest of the underwriting group will share in the financing depending upon how it stacks up.
Also a group that would not have been selected by the board.
Well, it might not have been selected by the board for that financing, but what you're saying at this point is each of those parties is qualified to serve as an underwriter for NIFA.
Right, I disagree, actually. The resolution does say that, but it says at least that. It says more, and it allows the selection of a group to move forward that would get paid, and nobody else would, right, other than that group, without the board weighing in, other than just a veto, which I'm not sure is a great way to govern.
Let me rephrase your question. I mean, the only people who, if we are asked to start working on a financing, and the financing ultimately does not take place, the only people who would get paid would be people such as our financial advisor or our bond counsel, people who work on an hourly basis. It's understood by underwriters that unless the financing goes ahead, they do not get paid.
Yeah, I get it. I get that part. But the list of people who could get paid would be predetermined outside the board.
That's right. The initial list would be determined away from the board. Having said that, I suppose at the time the financing is brought to you, you could add people, but at a minimum, we would want to be able to appoint or select the senior book running manager because they are the entity that's going to do most of the work on the financing in terms of structuring, rating agencies, et cetera. So, yes, you are delegating the authority for sure to appoint the senior book runner, and then at some point you are approving the rest of the list who would be part of the financing.
Jeremy, this is Howard.
Thank you, Chairman Leventhal. I'm
Oh, I'm sorry,
I'll be
Paul.
recusing in the main meeting, but I think were I able to vote, notwithstanding, I'm pretty sure I would object to that feature of the resolution.
I'm not sure who this question is for, Jeremy or Paul, so I'll make it to both of you. I tend to agree with the point that Chris is raising here, and I think there's a change in the dynamic because we can now do telephone calls, which we weren't permitted to do in the past. So that if we decide that we want to name a lead underwriter, one that was selected off the list, we could have a meeting by phone in, 3 days?
Well, you're right about that. You're right. I should mention that in the past, you have normally waited and taken the recommendation of the chairman and the rest of the staff and approved the financing. But what you say, Howard, is that
in the past we had to wait for a meeting, and we know how hard those are to put together.
what you say is accurate. In theory, it's easier to put together a phone meeting, and we could have a meeting. But there's a certain amount of expense, et cetera, in setting up a meeting. But that certainly is your decision.
Jeremy, this is Paul Annunziato again. In light of what we're hearing, I'm concluding that unless we revise this this vote to be limited to simply approving this list for consideration and limiting it to that, it would be necessary for me to recuse myself because I can't both vote for my company being on a list for consideration and at the same time be voting for that company to be selected, which is the case. I understand that I would have to vote again for the debt, but I know I have no part in any of that revenue, and there isn't anything improper, but just for the purposes of any
and if
appearance.
Annunziato and Wright have to recuse and you have only 5 on the call, you can't. It won't pass. You need 4 votes.
So I would suggest that we either revise this resolution to either be limited to adopting the lists of the companies that are approved for those 3 categories, or it be withdrawn, or we're going to have an issue where we don't have a quorum.
Chairman Barsky, do you have a comment on the issues raised by Chris Wright?
I don't have any issues other than this is the recommendation of the staff in terms of the categories, and if we want to come back at another date and say, as something looks, if there is, right now there's nothing to really discuss. There is no request of the county to NIFA, so there's nothing to be done today, but should that materialize, I think we could go back and come back to the committee and say, okay, based on what is being requested, the staff will come back with a recommendation saying this is who specifically we want to do what. And then, yeah, given what Howard said, we can easily call a meeting.
But Adam, as you and I, as we have discussed, we may not get sufficient lead time from the county. So we may be in a situation of having to say to the county, we don't have enough time to put together a financing with you.
Well, I think that in light of the number of people here on the phone call and the questions raised and the fact that this does not require our decision at this time, I think that we can adopt the measure as presented and have the full board discuss whether or not to amend it. The problem being, of course, that we would have 2 members who would recuse themselves. But I am interested in.
I guess the question for Jerry is that, well, does it even matter if 2 people are going to recuse themselves no matter what?
I think, Chairman Barsky, what you're hearing is that Mr. Annunziato does not need to recuse himself if it doesn't delegate the authority to you.
But if it doesn't delegate the authority, in all candor, it seems to me to be pretty much form over substance, but we certainly can just select those people, and then from that group, we can then come back to you with a recommendation. So I suppose you're right.
Yeah, for whatever again, this isn't a one-time thing. We're talking about this is appointing a group of which people would be eligible to be selected from for how many, deal by deal. There could be one, there could be three, there could be four we could be talking about, so we don't really know right now. So this is not for one specific issue. This is to cover the needs for NYFA and the county for the duration of the authorization in the statute, right? So that covers, 20 and 21. So this would say who is, sort of the recommendation of staff who is eligible to serve in what roles. If there is a transaction, we're not going. I guess the staff's not going to come back to the board just when it comes to approving the transaction. There'll be a discussion to say this is what's being contemplated and this is who we are looking to use, and that certainly can go back to the board for approval.
So then, if that's going to be the case, what I recommend is that you put forward, or someone put forward the resolution, put forward the item as amended, and it should be such that any reference to delegation to the chairman is stricken and all other parts remain.
I will make that motion.
In the normal course, then someone would have to second the motion and
Just for clarity, and I'll second that based upon the understanding here that, in essence, what we are proposing right now is a vote to adopt a list of companies that have been pre-approved and screened, but there is no freedom or authorization to go out and engage anyone on that list without first coming back to NYFA, in which case anyone that has a conflict of interest can recuse themselves.
That's correct. You're not delegating any authority to do anything at this point. You're simply approving a list.
And with those parameters, then I'm comfortable voting, and seconding the motion with the revision to approve.
Okay.
Motion has been made and seconded. May I call for a vote?
I just have one question.
All those members of the committee who are in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Wait, Paul.
Yes.
Paul, I'm trying to have a discussion on this before the vote.
Okay.
Is that okay?
We will, of course, have a discussion at the board as well. Jeremy, can we have further discussion at this time?
Normally, once a motion is made, there's no discussion, but I don't think it really matters. It's up to you as chair. Normally, you don't. Once it's on the floor, it's there.
If it's up to me, then I would be interested in hearing what Howard has. If it's up to me, then I would be interested in hearing what Howard has to say.
Well, I'm not on the committee, so I can't second it.
It's a matter of it is up to Chairman Leventhal, but once a motion's made and seconded, that's when it is discussed, actually. So he's welcome
That's
to.
what I thought, to tell you the truth. But.
You can entertain any comments he'd like to.
I'm interested.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Jeremy, does this mean that they cannot select, NYFA cannot select an underwriter, a lead underwriter without the approval of the board?
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Is that what the resolution is going to say?
The resolution, I'm going to strike from the resolution. The resolution, as written, will strike any reference to delegation. So all it will be doing is it will be approving a pre-qualified list of underwriters. Approving the list of pre-qualified underwriters. Anything which references the chairman or delegating authority to him will be stricken.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any further comments or questions? Adopting this resolution does not mean that we are barred from revisiting this issue at a later date. Since there are no further comments, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Abstentions? Please let the record show that the motion carries unanimously. If there is no further business for the Finance Committee, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn the Finance Committee at this time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the Finance Committee.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Please let the record show the meeting has been adjourned unanimously at 6:23 p.m.
All right, so now, Adam, you will move to the regular meeting, please. And you can have the executive session. After you call the meeting to order, you can have it at any time that you desire.
The proposal was to have it at the end. This is Evan Cohn.
Okay, well, is there anybody that wants it before the end? For any reason that they wanted to, if there's any issues that need to be raised that would be relevant to the discussion of the agenda. Okay, if not, we'll just go to the regular meeting. We'll call to order the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority Directors Meeting June 9th. The action items, first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the meeting of May 19th.
I'll move. This is right. I'll move that.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the motion carries. The next item is the consideration of the county contract for the Variety Child Learning Center.
Yes, hi, Martha Worsham. The contract in front of you is item 128-2020, Variety Child Learning Center. This contract does not require approval from the Nassau County Legislature and falls under the exception clauses in the Nassau County Charter. Vendors, the approval process for these vendors, they actually apply directly to the state, and it's the state who qualifies them as providers. The county, in return, is mandated to use these vendors as their providers. The contract in front of you is in the amount of $60 million. It's for a 5-year period, starting September 1, 2020 through August 31st, 2025. And is there any questions on this?
No, other than this is Chris Wright. I'll move its approval and then ask a question.
This is Paul Leventhal. I'll second.
And my question is, Arthur, I believe this is commonly a 5-year contract with Variety. It's not unusual that it's a 5-year contract this time, right?
Correct. I forgot to mention that the rate of reimbursement right now is 59.5%.
It is.
State aid.
It falls within the budget, obviously, because they budgeted at historical rates, and this is consistent with
Yes.
Further questions?
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
If there are none, can you vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Item 3. I'll go back here. Consideration of county contract for Pratt Brothers.
Again, Martha Worsham. Item 145-2020, Pratt Brothers, is a contract with the Department of Public Works. The vendor was selected through an open competitive process, and 4 firms submitted bids, and Pratt Brothers was selected as the lowest responsible bidder. The contract amount is $8,888,777, and the term is 180 days from the note to proceed. This contract will be funded with capital proceeds. Approval of this contract does not guarantee borrowing approval. The contract the services to be provided is for Phase 4 of the resurfacing project of various county roads in the towns of Oyster Bay, North Hempstead, and the city of Glencoe. Are there any questions on this item?
Jeremy, I'm going to abstain on this vote. Do you have enough votes?
Yes, we have 4.
I guess I shall I'll move the contract so that we can consider it. This is Chris Wright.
I will second Paul Leventhal.
Are there any other questions on this item? If there are none, then the vote, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries.
Not opposed, I'm just abstaining.
Right.
Yep. Right.
That carries 401.
401, yep. Next item on the agenda is the DNA restoration contract.
Again, Martha. Sorry, I apologize. Again, Martha Worsham, item 88-2020, ENA restoration. This contract is also with the Department of Public Works. The vendor was selected through an open competitive process. 7 firms submitted bids, and ENA restoration was selected as the lowest responsible bidder. The contract amount to be approved is $85,600,000, and the term is 550 days from the day of execution. This contract will be funded with capital proceeds. Approval of this contract does not guarantee borrowing approval either. The services to be provided by this vendor are for the general construction to renovate the existing building at 101 County Seat Drive in Mineola to house the family and matrimonial court. The work includes complete the interior fit out and the core and the shell of the building. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes, I have a question, Paul Leventhal. The term is unusual, 550 days. Is that their estimate on the time for completion?
I understand that's what it is. I'm not sure if Ken Arnold is on the line to answer this question.
Yes, I am. Good afternoon. Good evening. Yes, it's a duration of 18 months to complete the project. That is our anticipated goal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, are there any other questions?
If there are no other questions, entertain a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Yeah. Was that made?
Abstentions?
Gary?
Okay, the motion carries.
I'm sorry, are you asking me something, Adam?
Yeah, Jerry, was that properly made and seconded?
To be honest with you, I missed it. I didn't hear the whole thing. Why don't you just start again and make it and second it?
In that case, Paul Leventhal, I will move item 4 on the agenda.
Second.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, if there are none opposed, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda under tab 5 is the selection of qualified underwriters who can assist in NIFA debt issuances and related actions.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee considered this matter in the presence of the board, had a robust discussion, and is presenting a motion that has been amended for the consideration of the full board.
This is Jeremy Wise speaking. The revised resolution would remove any reference to delegation of authority to the chairman or to staff. The resolution now would simply be to approve the list of underwriters who are mentioned in the materials.
I will move that resolution, which of course does not foreclose discussion after it's been seconded. Is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Okay. Are there any other comments, discussion? Otherwise, entertain.
I'll be refusing on the vote, but it sounds like you have what you need, so this is right.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And I'm
Any
present.
opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Now we would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
You have to state the purpose.
Jeremy, do you want to state the purpose?
The purpose would be to discuss contracts and pending litigation.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries, so we'll go into executive session. No actions are will be taken or votes taken at that meeting. Okay, we're back in the regular session. If there are no other questions, comments, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.